When I took on this role as regional secretary, one of the first things Gwen said to me was, "I'm going with you. I don't trust you to visit all these countries without losing your passport or without losing the car or something like that." And they do say that behind every man, there is usually a very surprised woman. So the whole issue of marriage and relationships, particularly in this culture and among Christians, is still one that perplexes many of our students and perplexes many of our young adults when they start to think about life choices. And one thing, because we were cut short in time last night, one thing that we were discussing, and I think John would very much like to share with us, is the importance of marriage and all that goes with this. And of course, John, I don't know if behind you is a very surprised Sally, but I know that she's been an amazing support for you. So how would you summarize the issues that surrounded marriage and marriage choice and the importance of that in Christian ministry?
Andy Wickham is 41 and is afraid of his wife sending him to Siberia. I was 49 and my wife sent me to Siberia. I've been married to Sally for 54 years. And what I'd like to say to the young people particularly, it is a wonderful thing, but not granted to everyone in God's good wisdom to have a spouse. But observing life, and from my own experience, I'd simply like to say, make sure that your spouse is someone who shares your Christian worldview. It's no accident that in the New Testament, Paul says, marriage, yes, but only in the Lord. Now, I'm here because my wife encouraged me to come. She didn't want me to come until 2 weeks ago because I've had cancer and I've had a stroke within the last 2 months. And she was concerned that something might happen if I traveled. But she came to me 2 weeks ago and she said, look, she said, I've been praying about this. And I do not believe that I should put your life on hold. The Lord can take you anywhere. He could take you at home or he could take you to be with himself in Greece, so please go. Now that kind of support is gold dust. You remember last night I said I went to Siberia for 2 months. And during my life, my wife has been wonderful in putting up with things that, in my view, no woman should have to put up with. And you have to work these things out. But when I marry people, which is very rare, I always present them with a musical instrument. It's the simplest musical instrument. It's a triangle. And I say to them, hang that up in your house to remind you that a solid marriage relationship is a triangle. You, your spouse, wife or husband, and the Lord. And if you sense that something's beginning to go into trouble, just go out into the hall and ding the triangle to wake yourselves up to the fact that something may need to be sorted out. The final thing I'd like to say, that some of us will remain single. The most perfect man that ever lived was single. And one thing that those of us who enjoy a happy and solid marriage must never do is to make fun of people who have to live with singleness. Sometimes that is a very difficult thing to do, and we must show every understanding and help those people to find fulfillment in other ways. But do please, young people, take a long view, because if you marry someone who doesn't share your worldview, you are building weakness into a relationship which may well fall apart and you will be bitterly disappointed. Make sure you share with the Lord. And one of the things that has been so important in my life is that my wife and I can pray as often as possible, usually every day, and read scripture. Don't marry someone that you cannot pray with or read scripture with or discuss with. Lindsay and others wanted me to say this. Thank you for listening. And God bless you, because if you get the right spouse, then your marriage will be solid and will be a model for the millions of young people in the world who have no idea what a Christian home is like.
John, thank you very much for those wise words. I've seen that triangle used in one of John's weddings, and it's very powerful. And certainly I can testify that being able to serve together actually doubles your effectiveness. And I remember a pastor friend saying to me that if you decide to get married, who you marry can either have your effectiveness or double it. So I hope that you heard what John actually said. And over to Giovanni.